What is going on, everybody? Project Rod right here, and we've made it to episode 2 of the Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 sign-up series, Arena Series. Here is the current leaderboards. As you see, Alien Invasion dominant in Salt Lake, and Son of a Digger right behind him with 17, Monster Rottweiler in third with 15, and so on and so forth. So here we go. It's time for qualifying to see what our racing bracket here in Wilkes-Barre, I don't remember. See what the bracket here is going to look like, as Backwards Bob is our first qualifier today. Now we're going to go off of, or the way it's going to work today is we're going to go off of the points. That's who's going to go first in qualifying, the points leaderboards, who was last to first. So Backwards Bob being in last place. Backwards Bob going over, smashing into the barrier there. So they're going to get a DNF, unfortunately. Not the way they wanted to come out today. So final boss 100 in Backwards Bob. Unfortunately, not the best first run, but they have one more attempt today in qualifying. So let's see what they can do here in their second go around. Hopefully they can keep it under control and get a good time to get higher in the race bracket, but also get some more points. I know they're currently sitting in last place, so they can really use the help right now with some extra points. And Backwards Bob qualifying in Salt Lake was third in qualifying, so they didn't do too bad. It's a pretty fast truck around the track. Just, unfortunate DNF there in the first go around, and actually has a little bit of a record. Had a DNF in his second go around in Salt Lake. So here we go. Here's the final one. Looks like we're actually going to get a time. A 30.05 for Final Boss 100 and Backwards Bob. So pretty good time. Not too bad. Got 5 more to go. Here comes Stone Crusher and Undead Elkins. Hoping to get a first run time. Unlike Backwards Bob did. But Stone Crusher was actually 5th in qualifying in Salt Lake. So didn't do too well. Hopefully, hoping to turn things around here so far. First turn, first lap, doing good. Almost popped it into a wheelie there. A little bit of a wheelie and a little bit of a bicycle there, but looks like that's going to be an ongoing issue here. Hopefully not, but here we go. Last turn. Let's see what its first time is going to be. And a 29.81 for Stone Crusher. So already shooting up to the top in first in qualifying as of yet. So pretty good. Let's see what the second run can do. Better time or not, doesn't matter. Currently in first place. But yeah, that jump. So the first lap, not a big deal. Looks like that jump though, going into the second lap, is going to be what causes some issues. It just depends on how hard you hit it and how high you go, really. See how he landed on the back tires there, kind of shot him forward a bit, slowed him down some. So that's going to be a recurring issue, it seems like. But on that last turn here, and it's going to be a 30.35 as he goes over. I was just talking about that. That's going to be a problem here, I'm sure. I mean, as long as it's on the final turn when the race is done, I don't see it being an issue, but you got to do that jump once before you do it last. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes to race day and to the rest of the qualifiers here as Crush Station comes out. Going back to Stone Crusher, going back to Stone Crusher though, I can't talk. 30.35 on the second run, but no big deal. Still has that first place with a 29.81 as Crush Station finishes his first one. He was able to control it pretty well up until that point, bicycling it. It's just an awkward hop there. Crush Station, though, being piloted by Speaker Mike 02. And here is his first time. What's it going to be? Huge hair there. 31.09 as he tries to stop it on a dime there. Luckily able to keep it on all fours. But 31.09, good enough for currently third place. Last time around in Salt Lake, had a DNF in its first run and a 21.62 in its second run. Obviously, it was a smaller smaller runs there in Salt Lake, it being a smaller area. But here we go, second run, hoping to get a second time, a faster time then Stone Crusher, or at least Backwards Bob in order to get that second place spot. So here we go, first jump. Able to control it again, but kind of whips it out into the wall almost. I think he did just kind of give it a little kiss there. But that's going to be interesting to see the rest of this event. So here we go, final turn. Is going to get a second time. Probably going to be a little slower than the other one. Yep, 31.63. So only good enough for third place at the moment, as we have Monster Mutt, Rottweiler, and Self-Created come out, going for their first attempt here. Now, Monster Mutt Rottweiler was second in qualifying last time around, so pretty fast truck. Almost got first. Unfortunately, Alien Invasion was the one that came out and took him out. Looks like he kind of turned a little early there. We might have to look into that going forward. But here we go. First turn, was kind of able to control it okay. It's going to be tricky. You might just have to slam the brakes just before, but then again, that might slow you down too. So it's kind of a, you know, it depends on how you want to do it. 30.42 for Monster Mutt Rottweiler. Good enough for current second place. But it seems like you kind of have to pick your poison here. Either you gun it and risk the chance of being shot up and over, flip over, whatever it is, and into a bicycle, whatever, you know, following the trend of all these other drivers, or you kind of slam the brakes, pump the brakes a little bit, I should say, before you hit the jump, to kind of get less air, less speed, so you don't fly too far. But then again, if you slow down, that's gonna affect your time. So I don't know how these drivers are gonna want to do it, but over the first lap pretty well. Was able to control this second jump, or that first jump, was able to control it pretty well. So looks like he may have figured it out there as he goes for this last turn. Let's see what his time is going to be. Here we go, and a 30.05, so actually tying Backwards Bob and his time, though he was able to get a second attempt done. So that's going to put him ahead of Backwards Bob. Backwards Bob had that DNF, so that'll put him right under Self-Created and Monster Mutt Rottweiler. As Son of a Digger comes out, who was our slowest qualifier back in Salt Lake. However, he came back, put on the fastest times, and won the whole racing event there. So that just shows you qualifying. In all honesty, it's a good way to get ahead of the bracket, good way to get points, but doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be able to win a race. And he slams into the wall there. A DNF for Son of a Digger. Very unfortunate. Arcanine 59 getting a DNF here. Second DNF we've seen so far in today's events, as he's going to get ready to line up for this second attempt. Hopefully he can get a good time here and get ahead. But as I was saying, again, he was our slowest qualifier then, and he killed it in racing, came back and won, putting super fast times. I think the fastest times we've seen in racing for that event, both in qualifying and racing itself. And he knocked out Alien Invasion, who was the fastest qualifier there. So goes to show you, and screwed up a little bit there, but goes to show you that qualifying, yes, it makes a difference, but doesn't mean you can't come back and win the whole thing. As he goes for his final turn here, he's going to get a time. What's it going to be? A 31.31, so not that great. Only good enough for last place again. But I mean, who knows? He can get last place again and then come back and win it all. I mean, you never know. But still, unfortunate. Only going to be able to get 1 point unless Alien Invasion just kind of botches his whole attempt here, her whole attempt here, as Cecily 96 is the driver, the only female in the Arena Series, looking like some trouble here, and she may actually get a slower time than Son of a Digger. Jesus, Son of a Digger. So, but only first attempt. Let's see what it's going to be. Here comes her first time. 31.62 going over, but able to save it. 31.62, good enough only for last place at the moment, but she has one more attempt, so as long as she doesn't get a DNF and doesn't have any other hiccups to slow her down, she'll be good to go. So here we go, our last qualifier for today before we move on to racing. So far so good. She goes around this turn here for her first jump. And that is an example of pumping the brakes right before the jump. It was still a little bit violent. Oh no, still a little bit violent on that landing, but almost lost it in that corner. But let's see how much it's going to affect her time as she guns in around this last corner. What's it going to be? What's the final time? And a 30.93, only good enough for fourth place as she goes over. Not going to be able to save it, but that means that Stone Crusher and Undead Elkins is your fastest qualifier for today. So they will get a bye run into the second round. So here we go. Here's what the race bracket's going to look like going into racing, and this is where the points are currently standing. Alien Invasion in first, Walt Weiler second, Digger third. Up next is Racing and Skill, so we'll see you there.